I decided to join TCM because finance is a very wide and broad field. It's hard to narrow it down to know exactly what part of finance you want to go into. Originally, I thought I wanted to go into personal financial planning just because I like to talk to people, and it's hard to know what you like until you try it out. This was a really great experience to try out the investment side of finance, and ultimately it drew me into that side of the industry altogether. So it was definitely a great experience.
And I heard there was a program that really dives even deeper into that. That was Titan Capital Management. I had that curiosity within myself that I really needed to be fulfilled. And it was through Titan Capital Management that I was able to find that.
And I felt like I wanted a greater challenge, and TCM offers that essentially. As I mentioned previously, it gave me the analytical and soft skills needed for us to be successful in our careers. No other place would you get the opportunity to manage a portion of an endowment, and that speaks volumes when it comes to your interviews.
I wasn't even a finance major, but I just applied for it because I knew it's somewhere that you can push yourself academically. A lot of us didn't really know much about finance before applying to TCM. So before, I just kind of wanted to get more involved in school and academics. The second reason I applied is because I wanted to get better at finances in general.
The real reason why after getting interested is just, it was the opportunity to actually be part of something that is not your normal classroom. It's not your normal textbook. It's not your normal class. And so for me, it was like getting that hands-on experience, especially as a student that had very little interest before and absolutely no experience with that, realm of finance at all. So that's really what attracted me to it, was just that kind of unique experience that I knew I wasn't going to get in a different classroom or in a club or anything like that.
Primarily, I just wanted to really test myself, my abilities, and push those forward. Part of it was also kind of egotistical. I wanted to be at the cream of the crop when it comes to the finance majors.
And this program was honestly life-changing for me. I can look back and I can so clearly see how it set off a series of really positive events that it got my career started. I ended up working in investing for a bit. Being in the program really set me up for success in so many ways. In terms of both the educational and the hands-on piece, it was an experience like no other. If I hadn't done ASAP, if I hadn't done TCM, I don't think I would have gotten to where I am today. I don't think those, all of those different pivot points in my life, that was really the domino that started things, for me at least.
TCM is very unique and very hands-on, and it was something that I saw and I knew immediately I would actually learn how to invest and how the stock market works. And I felt like I was going to get more out of this program than the rest of my finance courses in graduate school.
It sounded like a great experience, being around people who think like you, want to go into the same field as you, whatever conversation you have about the markets or business, it doesn't bore anyone. You learn from each other a lot. So you just get a good sense of what you might want to look for after graduation and getting more knowledge about the finance industry as a whole. And there was a lot of things that made me want to apply for TCM.
So when I joined the TCM program, I realized, hey, this is more of an actual internship. You're actually going into the weeds of of various companies, whether it be stocks or bonds, and actually going through the financials, trying to forecast what they're going to be like in the future. And you're actually writing up commentaries, you're actually writing up research reports, and it's essentially a job, but you're still in school. So you're getting the real great hands-on work and advice from all various directors in the program.
On the one hand, I wanted the experience and the skills. I think, obviously going to school, you take a lot of finance classes and those are good, but this is more geared specifically towards investments and investment management, which is really helpful. But then on the other hand, I also wanted the kind of the prestige and just to be able to put it on my resume that, I did this. You're like, yeah, I took all these classes. But if you've been to Titan Capital Management, you can say, I not only did these classes, but I did this internship and I've done all these things that these companies are actually looking for.
I would say that's a great program, and so much value, so much thing that you can learn, not only about investment, because a lot of people are students when they know about TCM, they only think about investment, but it's not just about it. It's a lot about teamwork, a lot about how to coordinate with other people in the same team, learning about fundamental analysis we can apply throughout any kind of field that I can think of regarding finance field. And it literally can give you an edge, a jump start in your career. Because so often I see students graduate out of school, they get into a circle where company require experience, and you just get out of school, you don't have experience, and then because of that you don't have work, and it's just go one circle, just go over and over. If you're in ASAP, at least you have it not give you everything to get like guarantee a job, but seriously it can give you a good heads up, a good one step before other, to show that you have experience, you have the knowledge, you have the skill.
When I think about why I joined Titan Capital Management, is for a few reasons. One, I was very curious about the capital markets. I had a current Titan Capital Management student come into one of my classrooms and pitch that these were the smartest students, researching the investment field, coming together, and they have 24-hour access to a room where they can just expand their curiosity and learn more and dig deeper. And I, being a competitive person, felt like I should put myself in that same group, and I wanted to tap into that curiosity, and I pushed forward, and it was a great decision. I'm very thankful for it. I knew as I was about to graduate school that I wanted to get a job, and people want to get jobs for various reasons, to build their own net worth. For me, it was like helping my family out. And I knew that the best way to set myself up for a job was to do something outside of the classroom, as Stephen mentioned. Companies are not just looking for students, especially in the investment field, not just looking for students that went to class. They are looking for those that got involved, that network, that went out of their normal day-to-day schedules to learn more about the markets and gain experience. And being a part of Titan Capital Management, it's an applied program that will get you that experience, that will set you apart from other students that are looking for a job.
It teaches me a lot of things. We study investing in focus, in detail, that we don't have exposure to. We do something that very similar to someone who do it in a real job. So I can say that we have some hand-on experience. I like the training in TCM because I think for me, it's just enough. If we do more, then it's too much to handle. But I think the current amount is very good. We learn a little of everything. We learn how to analyze securities, both bond and equity, and especially we learn how to manage a portfolio. So I think we know a little of everything, but good enough for a job interview.
I just really, first of all, wanted to surround myself with peers that all wanted to essentially achieve the same goal, which was trying to better themselves, especially in the finance landscape. Especially when it came to just finance language, right? When you're first getting into this industry, there's a lot of jargon and people are having these conversations and you're like, well, how do I make sense of that? How do I kind of participate and try to understand what's being said? So for me, I just wanted to be able to surround myself with peers that, if I had questions I could go to, that, it was kind of a camaraderie type situation that I really wanted to involve myself with, especially while I was still a student.
I am doing a research internship with Canterbury Consulting, lined up with JP Morgan in their middle market banking specialized industries rotational program. And so I'm very excited to start that in June.
I really love investing and make an impact on people's lives through investing. So I have a career in wealth management, and I think it's going to be very exciting. During my job interview, all the questions I answer based on my experience in TCM. All questions are about investment and leadership and teamwork. It's all about TCM. And the interviewer, they are very curious about our program, what we do, and what is the impact of our program. It absolutely get me my job.
I'm currently an investment analyst at Canterbury Consulting. It's a consulting firm at Newport Beach.
I kind of decided for a slight career change, so I'm not working in finance right now, but I'm aiming to get my master's in computer science.
I worked at Primco right out of undergrad, and even during the phone interview, they were asking about what factors do you think are impacting markets? And I spent the whole summer writing weekly summaries about the factors impacting markets. So nailed that question.
I'm a valuation associate at Marshall & Stevens. I've been there for about a year, but I am switching companies. I just put in my 2 weeks, so I'll be working for BDO, fully remote, which is cool. And that's sort of like the same thing, but it's more like transaction advisory.
So right after graduation, I started as a personal banker, which is not anything related to what I learned at TCM, even though it stayed there, so that I can hone my communication skill, destroy the fear of communicating, talking to clients. I'm making phone like cold call and reach out to clients. Doing that for about a year, I feel much more comfortable with my communication, and I think, okay, is it a time I missed analytical aspect of the career and make a move and reach out to recruiter within Comerica Bank, which is the same bank that I was a personal banker. Now for the credit analyst position, underwriter for middle market commercial bank. And I got a job again, thanks to the fundamental skill that knowledge analysis and understanding of everything that I learned. I showcase it in my interview, and that really the thing that gave me the job. And after 2 years, I moved to New York and looking for a position where I can apply even more the knowledge that I learned from ASAP.
Shortly after undergrad, I went to a sales job actually, and it wasn't related to investment field. So just in regards to just selling loans to other types of clients. So it wasn't something I was really interested in, but at the same time, I was still trying to get my foot in the door in the investment field, which later, a few months later, this is where the network really came in handy for in regards to TCM. I had a friend who I had two friends actually that worked at Canterbury Consulting, and there was a position opening up on the research side. So they both referred me to the role at Canterbury, and that's essentially how I got my foot in the door. And from there on, the ball just kept rolling and rolling now. So I've been very grateful for that opportunity, and it's very grateful for my network as well and all the, levers that pull from TCM.
After TCM, I first got a job at State Street Trust and Bank over in Irvine. So I was doing middle office, back office operations, trade, confirmations there, and did that for about a year. Right after that, I was actually referred to Canterbury Consulting by another TCMer, Aaliyah, and I've been here since. I've been here almost 3 years now. I am a senior investment analyst. I'm working more on the client reporting side. So I put together the quarterly performance materials for the client that the consultant will review with the client. I perform asset allocation analysis on the client's portfolios. I cover the rebalancing or money movement transactions that go on in a portfolio, and I've been loving it here. I really enjoy the relationships. Fun fact, I got both of my jobs out of school by fellow TCMers, so build that network.
I mean, I really think what it came down for me was like the network that I built, the skills that I learned. So even though I'm not a portfolio manager and I'm not necessarily doing things that I was doing during my time at ASAP, day to day, just being able to join my first job out of college and still feel comfortable that even though I was doing something a little bit different, I understood what was going on. If I heard people in the office talking about certain things, and investment language and stuff, I felt more confident than I think I would have otherwise, because I knew the background, I understood what they were talking about. And then just the confidence that program gives you, it is something that's hard. It's not something that everybody gets to do. And so I think if you can get through the program, get through the presentations, get through the feedback and the hard parts and the good parts, and you come out of the other side, you realize, like, if I did that, then I can do a lot of other things. So for me, I think it was a confidence boost and feeling like there is this whole other world out there in finance that I didn't even know about before. And it gave me the confidence to feel like I still could belong there, even though before I didn't.
I was actually teaching at the time, and so it was invaluable to go to TCM and just be able to switch careers like I did. And after TCM, I actually got a job at Fidelity Investments as a financial representative. It's really just a very operational job. and you're just helping clients do various things, anything from opening accounts to, just advising them on their 401k or really IRA, actually not 401k, but just simple investment advice. Nothing really that, involved. So I was there a year and a half, and then from there, I came to where I work now, which is Christian Community Credit Union. So I'm a commercial credit analyst, and really, I'm doing everything that I did in Untitled Capital Management. And when I actually applied for the job, I brought in my reports like I'd heard other people had done, and they were impressed by it because basically I had already done everything that I would be doing. It was slightly different, looking at slightly different metrics, but basically, I'm just reviewing loans, doing risk ratings, giving grades, and so yeah, exactly what I was doing there.
I think really it sounds maybe cheesy, but it was really the friends that I made and the team of students that I worked with for almost a year, really. So when I think back of the long afternoons and nights in our ASAP office, which I know you guys have a much bigger office now, but when I was there, it was a small little closet, and so it was very tight, and all of us were in there working on our research reports, fighting over the computers, having dinner. And I think that's what I think back on, and I think about like the connections that I made both professionally and then as friends. I didn't know anybody before that. It wasn't like my friends and I applied for ASAP. Like these people were all complete strangers, but we almost ended up like a second family after. So I think back to that. I think back to all the connections I made, and then also with the board members and you, and so definitely the professional connections too.
I'll make it Zoom friendly. So the angle of like getting to meet people in industry, I think is huge, right? So even just like Jeff Van Hart and all of our other amazing board members, and getting access to these people who are doing this as a profession daily. I think maybe that angle I didn't necessarily appreciate as much, because kind of on that trend of like, I was maybe like a bit timid going into this, a bit intimidated by some of these like people who seem to know what they were doing. And I'm wondering like, do I really know what I'm doing? But having those connections and being able to have conversations and even just ask them their views, because as you're pitching, like obviously for me, it was terrifying, but at the same time, like they're asking a bunch of questions about your thesis and how you're thinking about things. But I think in some of these like more casual settings, you're really able to ask them what they're thinking about. And then just being able to have that conversation as like an undergraduate student and get to think more about it, I think that's really special as well.
I would say the nights that we would play chess. So like one day Amelia decided to bring in a chessboard, and we just all got into playing chess. And I remember some nights where you would be in here like Sunday night at midnight cranking out a report because it was due in the next few days, and like other people would come in and you have that sense of camaraderie. And there was one night where we like unintentionally had a movie night in the TCM room on the screens, and it was just so cool being able to like hang out with your teammates, get that peer review while you guys are all in the room. And I don't know, it's just, that was something that made TCM memorable for me. What about you, George?
I have to 100% agree. Where the real bonding took place was after school, after the classes, when we were here. We arrived like 11, 12 at night, and we stayed until, I don't know if we're supposed to say this, but like until like 3, 4 in the morning, right? Obviously we got our work done. We knew that we were all in this together. So if I was suffering, I'm like, oh, everyone else is suffering with me too. But and what was really nice about having everyone together was if we had any sort of questions, or let's say my DCF skills weren't that great, I could go and ask like Tien. She was really beast at DCF modeling, right?
Yes, there's a few, like individual wise, at the end of the first semester I had to make a little a self-made valuation template, and I still use that one. Like I said, using that one in my next class and the class after, and I'm just kind of modifying it here and there. But one of the better things that I remember was second semester, there was this podcast that we had through TCM. Toward the end of the semester, me and one of the guys in my same sector group did the podcast with the like 3 hosts, and I think one other person with us. That was really fun. Like, we talked about the class, we talked about our other class, and then we just talked about life, and it was kind of a nice way to kick back.
For me, I think it's the little things that really matter. So all the late nights, we've all been in the same room. There's, that TCM room. I think just having those late nights where we're all just on the computer researching things, that we're bouncing off ideas, I think that's the most memorable thing for me.
We've built a friendship and a network that I think will last many years. And I've really enjoyed getting to know all of my classmates.
The time that we do on research and present it and get feedback from board advisor, from the trip to San Francisco, where I had a chance to present my recommendation, and I started out as the investment from North Korea, and everyone paused for a moment until I say just kidding, and everyone cracked up. I think that one of the things that stick in my mind, and I think it's wonderful that we have a chance to go explore and hear feedback from professionals, people who in the field and can give you what you can improve on. I think that's invaluable, and yeah, it stay forever.
I think for me, a couple of things that I remember, obviously the trip to New York, I'll always remember that. That was awesome. But then also, like Christian said, just being in that room, and I think the biggest thing is just debating ideas and voting on things, and just some of the great times we had, arguing amongst ourselves about what should be in the portfolio, what shouldn't. I think the kind of the network you join when you join Titan Capital Management, and just not only the wealth of knowledge, but all the resources and people that you meet is invaluable. I mean, not necessarily me, but so many of the rest of the alumni have gotten jobs because of people they met or people they went, they were in the program with. And like I've told the guys, I'm just waiting for someone to become the portfolio manager of a big hedge fund so we could all rejoin together.
It'll happen.
I will say, like, the most helpful thing you can do if you're thinking about it would be like talk to the people who are in the program, right? Because I think like getting a sense of like what output you'll be creating and the type of work you'll be doing, that's super helpful. I know that was helpful to me when I was thinking about applying and ultimately did apply. It was like, this is the kind of work that I'm interested in. And I would say if you're on the fence, like definitely just apply. Because like even just the process of applying for something and filling out the application and then doing an interview, like frankly, it's a good rep as an undergrad, or even now, like even for me, sometimes I'll apply to things I'm not necessarily like super for sure that I want to do it, but just for the repetition of practicing. And then also just getting to like meet those people and talk to the interviewers, talk to your fellow students that are interested in this area, and just continue to like make connections.
If you're on the fence, do it, apply. What do you have to lose? Like, you have so much to gain experience-wise. It's going to make your resume that much stronger. It's going to make you that much stronger of an applicant when you go against others for your job. I don't think I would have gotten to where I am without my experience in TCM. So I think a lot of my success to it. Do it, apply.
For individuals that are looking to apply to Titan Capital Management, 100% agree you should. Like Vivian, just to reiterate what Vivian's saying, if you're on the fence, go for it. Even it's not going to be easy. For sure, it's not going to be easy, but the challenge will definitely be rewarding for sure. It'll, within TCM, you're going to learn a lot of skills. You're going to learn skills like your Excel skills, PowerPoint skills, presentation skills. You're gonna learn to be a little more comfortable talking in front of people that actually know about the industry, that are very knowledgeable. You'll also learn that you shouldn't, if you're gonna say something, make sure it's correct, because like I said, everyone knows what you're saying, everyone knows if you're BSing, right? Yeah, definitely apply. It'll make you much more competitive out there in the work field for sure if you're trying to look for an employment.
If you're going to take the program now, have to skimp on a few classes that you'll take the second semester, the first semester alongside it, and graduate on time, or you have to skip it because you don't want to take it without getting those classes under your belt, take the program because you'll learn a lot more. Like I said, what I'm doing right now, which is going to be like the foundation for my financial career, is something that I could not have done without TCM. And it's something that feels a lot more manageable after having done the same thing in TCM for an entire year. And even if you don't think that you've learned a lot, if you think that you just kind of faked it till you made it and got by, you're going to realize after the program's done, you start looking at this stuff that, oh, actually, I do remember this. I do remember this. Wow, I know so much that I didn't realize that I learned.
Sometimes it's really easy to feel like you know nothing, or that everyone else knows exactly what they're talking about. I think a lot of finance and a lot of fields fields is learning as much as you can and putting it to practice as quickly as you can. But basically, don't ever feel bad for not knowing something or for starting off and not knowing a lot, because it's like you're never going to be good at anything right off the bat. You're going to have to work on it. So don't count yourself out and try.
In general, making connections, because in TCM, you're going to spend a lot of your time with your peers, working countless hours, and you're going to have a real bond with these people, and just being able to know exactly what you want to do. And also expanding beyond TCM, alumni and like companies nearby, just trying to connect with as many people as possible, expand your horizon. To get that network going is definitely important to start earlier than.
Yeah, I think that if you're contemplating on joining the program or at least applying, and you think that maybe it's not the right fit for you because you don't think you're super smart when it comes to investments, or you're not knowledgeable or whatnot, then don't let that be the reason you don't try it. Because the reality is I think most students go into it very similar, which is maybe we think we know something, and then you get there and you realize you know nothing, and everybody learns together from the bottom, and the professors and the board members and everybody's there to help you learn and grow as you do it. And so even if you think that you don't want to be a portfolio analyst, or you don't want to necessarily take a job that's this boxed in when you leave Cal State Fullerton, I think you may find there's a lot of value even outside of the investment knowledge that you'll gain. And there's professional connections that you'll make that might change your life. Because if I didn't know you, I wouldn't know Blake, and then I wouldn't, be having this conversation with you 6 years later. So it kind of all does, definitely all ties together. And so there's more to the program than just learning how to pick a stock or a bond. And if you think that it might be for you and you're still worried or whatnot, just give it a shot, because I see very little downside to actually doing the program. Even if you end up taking a job that's very different, like myself, I still think you would find it valuable.
It's going to be incredibly difficult for anyone trying to break into this industry if they don't have experience or some kind of extracurricular activity outside of classes. Why not go out of your comfort zone and go into an applied program like TCM that's going to push you? But in that process, it's going to teach you so much. The network base we've established now, there are TCMers working all across the globe, and we're very centralized in SoCal. So, my recommendation, if you're even considering TCM, is to reach out to someone that was in Titan Capital Management and just try to get to know us even further. Our doors are always open.
Just be sponge and absorb the good thing, the good knowledge that the program have to offer. And in the end, you would realize more than what you expect, that how much have you gone, how far have you gone, and how much have you achieved at the end of the program. And I really think that's so true after the 2 semesters joining the program. So much that I have learned, and so valuable.
My favorite is don't doubt yourself. Believe in yourself and give yourself permission to be confident. If you believe in yourself, you will succeed in this program.
TCM, after coming across it and going through it, is like the single greatest opportunity I've ever seen out of college, to get you from wherever you are right here, up here. No matter who you are, what background you come from, or how much you're educated, if you put in the work, it's the greatest opportunity you can have. So if you want to be extremely ambitious and make your own life for yourself career-wise, this is the best opportunity that I've ever seen.